Hey guys, and welcome back to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion. I am here alone again. The rest of the guys weren't around currently to join me, so hopefully next time they will be able to. But today we have number 7179, new resource graphics in concrete. So you can already kind of see here what they're doing. So for 15, we needed uranium ore for the nuclear power, obviously, and eventually needed all the other resources in high resolution, so we took the opportunity to rework all of them except oil. They introduced a new way of tiling instead of a square resource tile is puzzle shaped thing. This helps to remove the top-down square nature of the old sprites and make the ore patches more organic and kind of more 3D. So there's a good example here. The white square is, how they generate now, and this is what they look like. And then this is the new, what they will look like in 15. It looks much better. It just looks better graphically. It's more sharp. Just nicer looking graphics, and it looks more organic rather than these like squares. And they show it for all of them, and they look fantastic. This is the new uranium, at least now. It may change, but this looks pretty cool as well. I really like that green color. So since the aim is to create multiple tile sets which work similarly, you try to save a lot of time by making one master scene, start with copper ore, and then kind of derive the rest from that. And the most basic way to do it would be to just recolor them in Photoshop and call it a day, but that's kind of lame, they say, which they're very kind of picky about how their stuff looks, which I think is good. It's part of what makes the game so great. So since they're redoing it already, they might as well create a robust system, which can actually change the 3D objects in a semi-automatic way. So he embraced the power of Python and made a script which randomizes the selected objects. More specifically, it tweaks some displacement values, changes the mesh itself, and randomly rotates plus scales it in Z axis. So this is kind of what happened. I love this. He shows a picture. He takes a copper ore, inserts it through Python, and then exports the rest of the ores. And this is kind of showing kind of what's happening here. Again, these just look fantastic. I mean, they look so much better than current, and they show a bigger picture down here. So it took a while to do the first one. Obviously, I had to get everything right, make some tweaks, but then after that, the rest were easy. I'm still working on the uranium, though. It's very different, and he restates we want it to be very different, so it takes a lot of figuring out how it should actually look. So again, this might change. Either way, it's going to be cool to have another resource. Please note that the realism isn't the aim of this. The main focus is to have something that intuitively looks like what it should. For example, copper ore looks closer to copper plate than to real copper ore. So this is kind of addressing, I think, previously people have mentioned that, like copper isn't necessarily copper colored, like the ore. In fact, I think copper ore is, not really sure what color copper ore is. I want to say green, but I think that's when it actually gets like oxidized or something. I am no expert in this, so take what I say with a grain of salt, but I'm pretty sure copper ore is not actually this color in real life by itself, but I could be wrong. I think it's actually reversed. I think iron and copper are kind of reversed. I remember someone saying that. So I think that's what this is addressing, but this shows an example. This looks so much better, right? Not only do they look more 3D, I mean, this stands out more 3D than this does, to me at least. And it just looks more organic, they actually look like kind of ore fields rather than like generated ore squares, if you will. I mean, patches now, they have different shapes, but, they were the little squares within it. This just looks so much better. I really, really like it. And they say, with this, we're also currently tweaking the map generation so that the ore patches look nicer. They say they'll generally have the same amount of resources, so it shouldn't affect gameplay, which is good. And then concrete. Quite some time ago, we presented a new concrete tile set, way back before 13 released, although it's much nicer than what we had previously. Introduced a new problem with hazard concrete. So this is kind of what they discussed. This was a long time ago, like 59 Friday Facts ago. But yeah, so this is a new concrete graphic. You can tell there's a pretty big difference here. But the problem they ran into, right, is with their hazard concrete, you can see some issues. You can see the problem on the left of the following picture, yeah. So there's some slight issues in here. Recently, Posila spent just a few hours implementing a new Lua value transition merges with the tile equals concrete, which just uses a continuous border between the two tile types instead of causing the ugly behavior. So this is kind of over here what it would more look like, which is pretty big improvement. At least I think so. Still not perfect, but the edge doesn't know, because the edge doesn't know whether it should be hazard or normal concrete, so it just searches for its neighbors. It's a northeast, southwest cycle, so sometimes you can get a different tile than you might expect. Not that big of a deal. It is much nicer than what they had previously. This still looks really quite good. One day they'll have to rework concrete to high res anyway, so hopefully we'll be able to figure out a better system by then. For now, you can look forward to it in 0.15. So, that's it. Pretty short overall, actually, but one I personally really like. These new ores, I'm kind of more of a, I wouldn't say more, but I'm kind of a graphic-oriented person in regards to games. Like, having graphics that look good actually means a lot to me in a game. So this is really great to see, and the more kind of organic looking thing looks cool. And then, yeah, so there's this, and so we know that's in 15 because they just said it was in 15. And since this was a pretty short one last thing I do want to discuss here. It doesn't have to do with this Friday Facts, but I saw on the subreddit a couple days ago, or a day ago, someone asked, made a post and asked if there was like any confirmed list on all the 0.15 features, and someone linked to like the wiki page where they have listed features. And the reason I'm pointing this out is just so people don't get misled. So the person linked the wiki page, and then our seating, one of the devs who is known pretty well, at least in Will's chat, and he stops by mine and stuff, is that he replied to that and said that a lot of the stuff on that link is actually not in 15. He said that, and this is pretty, I find this interesting because, again, you can maybe get misled a little bit, is he said quite a bit of the stuff they mentioned in Friday Facts was literally them just throwing out ideas rather than saying it was in 15. So off the top of my head, a few things he said that they had mentioned in Friday Facts and that were on that wiki page that actually are not in 15 at this point is the artillery train thing they'd mentioned at some point, and click and drag or click and hold belt building, if you remember. They showed a GIF of it at some point, I think on the Reddit and maybe in a Friday Facts, where they like, it was an improved way of belt building. And I was kind of, I misunderstood because I thought that was in 15, but that's one thing he said is actually not in 15, at least as of yet. And there were a few other things, but just kind of throwing that out there that, when you read through the Friday Facts, don't expect everything mentioned to be in 15. Now, this one they obviously just said you can look forward to it in 15. So these things are in 15. But just to keep in mind that not everything they put in the Friday Facts as a feature, or that may sound like a feature, is going to be in 15. It may just be an idea they're playing around with. But I just want to throw that out there for you guys. I thought it was interesting to, actually see one of the devs say, some things that weren't in 15 that I personally actually thought were going to be, and probably a lot of people did. But anyway, I believe that'll do it for this one. If you're interested, go to the forums and leave your thoughts and discussions. There's usually a lot of good discussions there. But I believe that'll do it for this one, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments as well. It's always interesting to see what you have to say about these. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.